Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again for the second match now of Yi versus Maksimum. We are on Pioneer Pass, a map which I personally never played that much, but here we are. Also, what you might notice is that this map is only, like the vanilla map only has 2 spawns, but this is a modified version by myself, so I added 2 more spawns, and luckily both players spawned opposite to each other, which means they both have a pretty rough spawn. If you ask me, it's not ideal, but it's equal, so there's no like unfair advantage for someone or anything, because this is the vanilla spawn, so you can see all the resources nearby, which is nice and all. And they basically, you can see he already fell all the trees, so that was pretty quick. So that's Maksimum in red, already fell all the trees, so he will have to go elsewhere if he needs some more, although he has a fair bit of them. And on the other side we have Yi, who won the previous match, technically due to timeout, but this is a rule which is being changed. And he basically decided to advance his base to the choke point in the middle, which is a very interesting strategy, if you ask me, because basically his base will be there. He will be fighting from there, like, but his crystal is over here, which means as long as he can block the enemy, there would be no issue. For example, I would very much see him just dig a tunnel over here on this this section, and then just force the enemy to come through the space, which he could then very easily defend. Plus, if you look from above, you can see the crystals. So each of them has one, and then there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 just behind his base, technically, which he would then own. And his opponent, which is playing very much in his base, would have like to go outside, because this is the equivalent of the opposite crystal, which means there's one crystal which is basically up for grabs and reachable by the other sides. But the question is, will we even get this far? Because since he owns already basically half the map at this point, because the middle is really here and so there's his base, the question is, will his opponent be aggressive enough and have enough skill to just penetrate the map, basically? Also, one other advantage you might see, Yi just basically made himself a crossover here through the stones and the woods, which is pretty smart if you ask me, because his opponent would still have to walk around all this area just to get like to those irons. Also, Pioneer Pass is a map very scarce on resources. You can see the trees are not so many, and the grass is even rarer. You can see that there's just like a few here, a few there. Well, it's still a lot. You can still do stuff, but it's not so much. Also, the same goes for the iron and the ore, because it's very, very, very much less than on other maps, which might very well be an issue if you ask me, simply because, well, if you need all those iron ingots and conquering wards and everything, well, there's gonna be a limit which will hit really soon. Because even if you look here, he's already using up all the rest of his crystals. He has roughly, well, 180. He's gonna get with one of those 200. And then there's still like the other depots. But it's not as much as on other maps. And for example, on the previous map, this was no issue at all, as there was so many resource depots and everything. And so yeah, and plus the spawn is pretty empty, so they always have to get out to get some more, which means Yi will not really have this problem, because he advanced his base and basically is already in distance of his enemy. Also, what I would do, if I were maybe in one of their positions, just noticing right now, make an archer kit and then send the archer over here, because you can just cross this whole area by foot. Just come here and then just start harassing his base. As simple as that, because his enemy will have to cross the whole map, and since there is no passage here, or maybe if you try to walk through, but he will have to cross the whole middle and then cross the base. So this is basically... Oh, excuse me. Alright, and then let me just set the timer for the match. There we go. Alright. And now the problem is that if he puts an archer there, he can just harass the enemy base and he could do nothing against, like literally nothing. I don't know what he could be able to do, because he would have to make his own archer kit to counterfire, and even then he had like he would have the priority or like the first attack, and his opponent, what would he be even doing? Because he would have to cross the whole map just to get there and even cross like his base. And even if he would be like send a walker to, I don't know, chop the wood or something, the problem is his opponent would just see it and then just intercept him easily. Or in the worst case scenario, you would have chopped the wood for your enemy and he would just use them and be like, oh thanks, I didn't have any wood. And now you can see 3 halberdiers being ready, and is this gonna be a rush? So we see both crystals now ready to spawn a new worker. So we see a total of, oh, even a 4th one. So there are 4 on the go and 3 in the base, which makes it a total of 7. And on the other side, do we even have a first kit? We do not, and the workers are just turning their thumbs around, it seems. He's manually telling them to work this. Maybe will he try to get over here, which would be a bit surprising if you ask me. But now you see the same strategy he used before on this other map, aggressive reconnaissance, and right now he sees that his enemy is nowhere in the sector. He has now 5 halberdiers. They're all ready to go out. There is even 2 more helmets, and yeah, everyone, 7 halberdiers in, well, technically 10 minutes, but we just reached after the non-aggression phase. So basically 6 minutes, 7 minutes, because there are 38 minutes left to play. In 7 minutes, he has all his people equipped with halberdier kits. And what are you going to do now? He's just overrunning you. And I think that already this is a GG. Simply because, yeah, 7 halberdiers, 7 civilians, so to speak. So what are you going to do? And yeah, he's even making more kits than he has people. But yeah, on this side here, he doesn't even care about the workers, which technically, I think it would be easier to just kill all the workers than to kill the crystal, if you ask me. Because they will keep doing damage to you. But the problem is, yeah, his crystal is done. And that's a GG.